What's happening? This is Mike Williams, and this is Breakthrough Kings. I help men break through their personal barriers, find passion, discover purpose, all while leveraging the internet to create financial independence. Make sure that you go to our Flow page, flow.page/Breakthrough Kings. Follow all our social media platforms, specifically subscribe to YouTube. We really want to grow out the channel and make an impact across the internet. This is all about topics that are important, and from a man's perspective, every person that we bring onto the Breakthrough Kings is someone with a story, someone that is relevant and important to the community, and being an awesome example of what a man should be as far as, doing what they need to do every single day out into the marketplace. Today, we're going to be talking about the importance of the Black male educator. It appears that there is a shortage of them, and we want to talk about why they're important, why more people should be, why more men should be approaching education and really getting into the field, because we believe that they can make a dramatic impact with the community. But I got someone who specializes in education. It's what he does for a living every single day of the week. I got Stephen Robertson on tonight, and he's really going to share his story, share some things that he's been able to do in his community as far as, being an educator, and also introduce us to his platform that he has as well to help educators expand what they do out into the marketplace as well. But I'll let him talk on that topic in just a second. I'll bring him out here. I see what we got so far. Got a couple of people. Roderick, what's going on, bro? That beat is fire. Yes, it's a custom beat that I got made specifically for the Breakthrough Kings. Yes, because that's how we do things, right? Professional. Also, make sure you check out the His Method. If you're a male, go check out the hismethod.com. Learn how our clients are using the His Method to break through personal barriers and build their financial legacies as well. All right, cool deal. We about to open it up here a little bit.
Yo. I gotta be honest with you. I was literally like watching you on the Facebook, John. And you into me. Listen, I'm so excited to be here, man. Thank you so much for having me on today.
No problem. We appreciate you taking the time out your evening. We know that you got to get up in the morning and do what you do in the schools. So we appreciate you hanging out with us late night.
I was telling you before, I'd be halfway into my REM sleep right about now. Right about now.
Next, you know what? I was online and I saw something really cool that I wanted to share with everybody. I'm going to play this really quick for everybody.
I go. I go. I said, I go. I said, I said, I go. Thank you so much. So I need only 2 people to come up and show me what they acted out.
So cool. I was like, I got to bring this up tonight, and I got to share this tonight with everybody. I thought that was dope. How effective is that method of engagement in your classroom?
Wow. First of all, man, I miss my kids, bro. I miss my kids, man. But effectiveness, it's effective for them, right? I can't say that it's going to be that method. I can't say that method would be effective for everybody's classroom. Yeah. But I spent enough time with those children getting to know what makes them tick and building the relationship with them to realize, right, how to get them engaged. And by getting them engaged in that way, they were also able to learn and retain information. So it was very highly effective. I mean, if you look at the end of the video, you got like 95.5% hands up and ready to rock.
Yes, I thought it was huge. So I was like, yeah, I definitely got to share that. Just to show the impact of what you got going on. You mentioned building a relationship, with the students. What are some ways that you've been able to connect with students, every year at your school?
Oh man, ways that I've been able to connect with them, just being transparent, honestly. The young people that I work with are from a community like the one I grew up in. And so one thing that I noticed that they appreciate, which I too appreciate as an adult, is just somebody who's being real with me about what's going on in life, about the things that I'm seeing. And so the first step for me to build a relationship with them was just tell the truth.
Yeah.
Give them the truth, and they give you the truth back every single day, whether you like it or not. I remember my first year of teaching, a kid told me about the kicks that I was wearing and was like, yo, you can't teach me if you wear shoes like that. Right? And that's what was valuable to him.
Yeah.
And I had to take that feedback and recognize if I really want to connect with the young people like me and the person that I'm dating right now, like we're very big on financial independence. So buying a fly pair of kicks it doesn't mean a whole lot to me.
Yeah.
Right. But it meant everything to that kid. But I wasn't able to teach him like that $120 that you spend on a pair of Jordans, what that can do for your financial independence. I couldn't teach that to him until he saw that I understood where he was coming from.
Wow.
Right. Wow. And so building relationships, like you can do simple things like go eat lunch with your kids. Right. Ask them questions about their life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. It's simple things. The same thing that you respect as an adult. Let's go grab coffee. Right. Mm-hmm. Let's go down to the lunchroom together. I'm not just walking you down the hall because I'm your teacher, but I'm walking you to the destination where me and you are going to share a meal. Let's break bread.
Wow. That's what's up. You mentioned, working with students that, grew up in a similar school district that you grew up in. Tell us about your experience growing up in the Philadelphia school system.
So the area that I grew up in was a lot different from the schools that I went to. Right. I grew up in Germantown, North Philadelphia. I spent my summers with my grandmom in Strawberry Mansion. But I went to school. I went to Catholic schools. Okay. And I went to school with people who looked nothing like me, who grew up in areas that were nothing like mine. So I got the bang of both worlds. Mm-hmm. Right. And the interesting thing for me, though, is that I went through a lot of trial and tribulation with that process. Right. I would hide my uniform in my backpack when I was leaving my neighborhood just so I wouldn't get teased by the local kids.
Wow.
Right. Ride the bus all the way up, then put my uniform on so that I could be in that environment. I learned what it meant to code switch.
I like that.
Right. And so I spent a lot of time in this environment where, and this is where, man, and we'll probably get into this a little later on, but the whole idea of bullying, when I break this down to parents and to families and help them understand what that really looks like, because some people might say the child is super sensitive, but they don't realize that child is leaving from home, going to a different environment. They get in that environment where people don't understand them. They pick with them all day. Right. So let's imagine real quick, short story. Let's imagine somebody walks up to you and they boom, punch you on your shoulder. It might be verbally. Right. But like physically, let's imagine somebody hits you on your shoulder. Right. And every day you go to school, they hit you on your shoulder. They hit you on your shoulder. They hit you on your shoulder. It creates a bruise.
Yeah.
Right. And then you come back to the neighborhood. In my neighborhood I grew up in, like joking on you, joking with you was a sign of love. Like, like if I didn't joke on you, we wasn't cool.
Right. Real talk.
But you got to remember, I came from an environment 8 hours a day where I was getting punched all day. So then getting plucked or picked with is in an area that's already sensitive. Now I'm just getting plucked. Normally a pluck wouldn't bother you.
Right.
But because you got punched all day, now you're getting plucked every time you come to the neighborhood. By the time you get home and your mother or your father or your brother or your sister wants to give you a hug and they touch that spot that's already sensitive, it feels like somebody's still messing with you. Right. And so that was something that I had to overcome, being bullied and being able to recognize what love looks like at the same time. Right. And so growing up in these different environments, right, coming from the hood, going to Catholic school where nobody looked like me, going back and forth, like that does something different to you in the mind. And it's the best of both worlds because you get to learn what it looks like to be in one element and how you can be your true and authentic self in an environment that looks nothing like. That's why I respect people like E.T., right, who decides to wear a fitted cat shorts to a corporate event where they're paying them $50K. Come on, somebody pay me $50K to go ahead and wear my hat and my shorts because we can go ahead and get it done.
I hear that. So what inspired you, brother, to take the route of being an educator?
The route of being an educator took me, man. It took me for a ride. My father was a coach when I was a kid. Like he loved to coach track, and he would show me like different ways to teach other people that were like maybe 1 year or 2 years behind me in school. So when I got to 8th grade, I was coaching 5th and 6th graders. When I got to high school, I went back to coach the middle school kids. When I got to college, I went back to coach the high school kids. But I never thought about it in a sense of education. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Right. I was always thinking of different businesses, different ideas, different ways to solve problems and help people. Mm-hmm. Right. And so there was a point in time when I really fell on hard times. I was actually like down and out, just like Eric Thomas. And God talked to me one day, like not like an audible voice, but when I was spending my time meditating and praying, I got the idea to start serving people who were in need of food. Right. So we started this nonprofit called Hub for Humanity. We were going out in the city of Philadelphia, serving almost 400 meals every week. Mm-hmm. But when we would make the food together, after we were done making the food, I would talk to everybody and just share a quick story. Right, that would kind of engage us, motivate us. But people would come up to me and be like, yo, you really taught me something today about myself. I was like, oh, word. That wasn't me. That was God. I'm going to leave it there. Right. And so this program took me to Delaware. And when I got to Delaware, there were some opportunities that happened. I worked in capacity building, but I went in and did a conversation with these students at a school in Newark. And the principal said, hey, we want you to come and do the graduation ceremony. I did the ceremony. That ceremony led to a specials program where they brought on my nonprofit. They brought on my nonprofit program to teach the kids how to lead within their community.
Wow.
Right. And after that year was over, I failed miserably. I failed drastically. But they saw something in me and they said, hey, we want you to come on board and support our sister school. And when I came on board there, that's when I really fell in love with what education is, because I thought that I was going to be just a full-time entrepreneur, but I fell in love with my true purpose, which is to educate. Yeah. Not just to teach, but to be an educator. Mm-hmm. Because I ran into these children that looked like me, that looked like they were going through life like I did. And I found value for myself in that space and sustainable opportunity. So I couldn't pass up the opportunity to be of impact, to do for others as I had wished others had done for me when I was a child.
Yep. Paying it forward. I love it. So, you know, is it important that we hire more Black male educators? Why or why not?
The trick question. Is it important? Do you have Black and brown children that are learning in your classroom? Like, do you have young people that are learning? See, the thing I struggle with, and I'm gonna answer your question directly, I promise you. The thing that I struggle with is that in third grade, they're deciding how many prison cells they're gonna build. Mm-hmm. So if that's the opportunity that you're placing on the table, it's imperative that we have more than 2% of all educators. 2% of all educators are Black males. There needs to be more of us represented if more of us are sitting in those seats and learning. The impact of that is tremendous, right? And I can give you the example because my first year of teaching social studies content, when they first started learning from me, I was teaching them about the maps and about our former presidents, but the children were disengaged. Mm-hmm. And so what I did was each state that we touched on, I'd bring in a Black historical figure, known or unknown, to help them connect to it. Yep. And you can clearly see in the data, and mind you, this is going to sound so wrong, but as an educator, I was not data driven. I was story driven. I was impact driven. Mm-hmm. But in order to sustain my position, I had to prove that what I was doing that didn't align necessarily with the curriculum was impactful and would end up in a long-term result. So you can see from the start of the school year, right, that the scores, the engagement, the trouble in the classroom, them being sent out, right, was improving. Mm-hmm. Right? Their scores were improving. The behaviors were decreasing because they were now engaged with something that they could identify and exchange with. They could spar with this thing that looks like them. And they're not processing it like, oh, he looks like me. But internally, they're connecting with that thing. And so it's very important that we have Black males as educators in the classroom, not just administrators, not just on the culture team, but in the classroom, instructing, teaching, leading, and launching their lives.
Wow. Very, very important. That first contact, per se. I love it. So how do we, you said 2%, like that's a low number in comparison to how many educators there are throughout the United States. Next question is, how do we attract, right, more Black men to the profession?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I think, man, that's a stumper.
Yeah, I feel you.
That's a stumper. I mean, I want to go on the end of like financial independence, like increase the financial opportunity in that space. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, like we have to go back to their childhood and experience with education before we can even get to that point. Because if children are treated the way that I was treated when I went to school by people who did not look like me, they're going to become disconnected. 9 times out of 10, they're going to become disconnected from the value and the appreciation and the enjoyment of education. Imagine if you're picked on, bullied, not just by your peers, but by adults.
Yeah.
What in your right mind would tell you to go back into that same industry, right? Besides like people like myself, like I absolutely want to give young people what I did not have, right? I didn't have a Black male educator until I was in my junior year of high school.
Wow.
And I only had one.
Wow. And
the interesting thing about that experience is, and I appreciate this man to this day, if I met him, if I seen him walking down the street, I would carry all his things for him because he taught me a valuable lesson. I'd give him $1, I promise you. Until I make more as an educator, that's all I can give him is $1. But in all seriousness, he gave me my first F. He gave me my first ever F, and I had a 69.4. He could have given me that 0.6 of a point, but he told me, everybody else in this school is passing you because you're one of the top athletes. But you didn't do the work. And what they're teaching you is that you can just get by not doing all of the work. And what I need you to know, young man, is that you have to be 3 times better.
Right.
Right now, you're experiencing an early term of enslavement of your mind. Your body might be free to move, but they were training you to be less than, because when you go out into the real world, you got to be 3 times more than those that you are competing against. It's always a competition.
That goes back to something you said earlier, knowing how to switch from one narrative to the other.
For sure.
We grow up and that's how we learn, right? You want to get ahead, we got to know how to be chameleons, right?
We got to make a move.
We got to move and shake. I appreciate that. Let's go to the comments really quick. For a little bit. Let's see. Mr. Barkley says, I remember having a lot of teachers, educators while I was growing up in college. I think the dynamic is different now because there aren't as many of our men that want to be educators compared to years ago. Yeah, and that's why I posed the question, how do we open up that conversation for our brothers to realize that it's a phenomenal industry to be in and the amount of impact that they can make. Let's see. Roderick says, bro, he is making my wife go crazy. We hitting you right after this. He probably going to ask you to come on his show, FYI.
Hey, let's do it.
Question. That's a true story. There are a lot of layers to this question. Lots of layers, man. Lots of layers. Absolutely. And what we got right, great character builder moment. Absolutely. So going back to that layers question real quick. Okay. And because this is the Breakthrough Kings, right? And that's what we like to focus on when we're dealing with men. Share a moment in your life, right? That pride stopped you from hitting a goal, right? Explain that. And how did you overcome that pride? Because I think every man deals with it at some point in their life. And I think that I'm going to let you handle it. You handle it. I got my opinion, but this ain't my night.
Yeah. No, you hit my pain point. You hit my pain point. We was just talking about it the other day, man. And when I think about this, it almost makes me cry. And I promise you, I'm gonna get directly to what you asked me to talk about, a story of my life. But I just wrote about it on my Instagram page, TLL Robertson, talking about like the battle between pride and love, right? And pride and love can't exist in the same space. One is going to prevail, right? So you can either fall in love or you can fall because of pride, right? But the two can't coexist in the same space. You got to have something in the middle to push that negative thing out. And for me, pride is a big battle. It's the battle that I need God for, right? It's the major thing. And sometimes it hits me when I don't even know it's hitting me, right? And so I tell people all the time, like sometimes people can see you better than you see yourself. That's why it's important to have 5 people around you that are stronger than you are. Like my big bro, Sing, it's the only Sing. It's the real Sing. My brother Kyle, my brother Drew, they look out for me day in and day out. They keep me in check. And so I think about a time back in like 2016, I want to say, when I was running Hub for Humanity full time, right? Like I was on a beam with it, led by God and moving in the right direction to the point where we got up to about 60 volunteers every Sunday, 400 meals every week, right? We had bands coming in. We had opportunities for people to like get employment. We had music, poetry, performers. We had food being made for people. We had people running around the city distributing it to people who were in need. We had families, brothers, sisters. We had the whole thing going almost like it was the Black Panthers back in the day. For real. But the thing that got in the way was my pride. I started to make it all about me. And I couldn't fix it myself because I couldn't see myself. And that relationship that I had with self, right? That relationship that I had in building something. And I know what it stems from. It stems from being down at a certain point. Like I was really like, there was a certain point in my life where I was not able to eat every day. There was a certain point in my life where I was sleeping in a warehouse that had no business sleeping in. And to be able to build something on my own, and that's the key part right there where I say on my own, that's the pride statement. To build something on my own and see it flourish was like, yo, I did this, but it wasn't me. I didn't give credit to the right person, to the right thing, to the right team, to the right people, and it came crashing down. And so I didn't fix it. It got taken from me, right? Wow. Everything broke apart. It got shut down and had to be rebuilt from that down point. And that's when I learned that pride gets in the way. But here's the thing, and the person that I'm currently talking to, like, showed me a part of myself that I also, because that failed, ultimately, even though it inspired like a lot of organizations to go out in Philadelphia and be able to serve other people, ultimately the organization itself didn't work out, right? But she showed me that I then became fearful of the idea of pride. And so my approach to being humble was a response to my fear of pride. And now my humbleness is becoming a restriction to my own success. It's wild. It's wild. I can't make this stuff up, right? But it's important, right, for you to have people around you that show you where you can be 10 times better. And I know there's so much more that the big guy has for me, man. I just got to unlock that element of fear because fear is not of him, right? You got 2 options when you sit. I'm about to start going, man. Can I get like 3 more minutes? Can I get 3 more minutes?
Go ahead, do
3 more minutes. Listen, there's 2
go.
things in this space, right? And I know that you've heard this before, but I'm giving it to the people that follow you, right? Fear and faith also can't exist in the same space, right? So pride and love can't live together. Fear and faith can't live together. And there's a certain source with fear and faith, right? Right? Fear has an energy and faith has an energy. Fear has evidence and faith has evidence. So you got to decide if you want to align yourself with fear, where does that energy and evidence come from? I choose not fear, but I choose faith. And I choose to align myself with that positive energy that comes from faith, because you can say, right, faith is to believe for something that has not happened yet as though it will. You act on that. Fear is to believe that something will happen that has not happened yet and to act or not act on that.
Yeah.
And so you got to choose. Like, you're still in the same position.
Yeah.
When you act on fear, you stay there. When you act on faith, you start to move ahead. So which one do you want to be aligned with? Fear or faith? Pride or love? And right now I'm choosing to love every single day, to love in faith. And in order for you to have faith, you must be able to love.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
I'm gonna stop because I'm about to go all day.
Comments. Comments. I love it. I absolutely love
Let's
it.
go
Tonight, man. So what's next, Stephen? What are you working on now, and what's next?
Yeah. I love to talk about the now. So right now we're building out a platform called Teach, Lead, Launch. Teach, Lead, Launch. And honestly, God put something on my heart today that while it's my job to help educators, to help people who teach get to a better place, not just financial independence, but I want you to be able to engage your audience better. I want you to be able to hook people in better. I want you to be able to show them and to help them experience, understand, and act on the knowledge you have. I want you to be able to create the stickiest lessons you could ever create. Right? While that's my job to do that with you, for you, and by your side, right? A portion of my mission is that character building. Yep. Right? That thing that helps you break through that barrier to create a lesson, that thing that holds you back from connecting with other people, right? To break through that fear and show faith, to break through that pride and show love. And so I'm here to do those things. But Teach, Lead, Launch is a network, right? Of people who are teaching something anywhere around the world. I connected with somebody the other day from Ireland, right? From as far as wide as Alaska, California, Delaware, New Jersey, New York. People from everywhere are coming in and connecting. And so you can go to my Instagram, TLL Robertson, click the link in bio, and you can set yourself up for a call where we can connect and get you connected with the resources that you need if you teach anything. Or you can go directly to the website, teachleadlaunch.com. You can go back to my link and you can get coaching, right? Or we can just chop it up. Honestly, the big thing in this world today is what do they say? It matters who knows you, right? When you go in space, it matters the people that you know. Yep. It matters who you know. But I fight that and I say it matters who knows you, right? And so when people say your network is your net worth, you can know as many people as you want to in the world, but if they don't know you, right? And I want people to have access to you because there's nothing to fear there. The only fear is your pride and people judging you and all this kind of stuff that doesn't really exist. It exists in your mind. When they say they, that they is the people that are dancing around in your head telling you you're not worthy, telling you you're not of the caliber and you were called. I don't know if I answered your question, but TLL Robertson, you can go there and connect with me.
You did a couple of times. Bro, I appreciate you. Stephen, you are officially a breakthrough king. For you to go through what you went through, to build it up, still growing, teaching, educating, and now focusing on the educators themselves. I mean, that's super powerful, man. For those who missed the entire conversation, you can go to the Breakthrough Kings on Facebook or follow any one of our pages on our Flow page. flow.page/breakthroughkings.com as well. If you missed the information to get in touch with Stephen, just shoot me a DM and I'll get you guys in touch. Just go to the Flow page, flow.page/breakthroughkings. Again, we appreciate you very much, brother, for coming through and just, doing what you do best, man. It was awesome. Phenomenal information. I'm definitely going to go back, watch it again, and take some notes because it was fire. All right, so we look forward to seeing and hearing from you again here on the Breakthrough Kings in the near future, man, so we can see where your platform is going and how it's growing and how we can help serve you as well.
Indeed, brother. I'm looking forward to it. Continue to make it count on Mondays, and I'll see you at the bell.
All right, brother. Appreciate you. Later.
Peace.
Man, what a powerful message tonight. We touched on some the question alone, how do we attract more Black men to be educators? That question alone, we can spend an entire day, an entire week of training, just trying to connect with people. So go back, watch this video again, guys. I appreciate the content. Make sure you follow Steven and all our pages as well. We're here every Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about various different topics. On Mondays, it's Make It Count Monday. On Tuesday is Super Tuesday, where we talk about politics, the media, and what's going on in the world. Wednesday is Wealth Building Wednesdays. We always bring somebody on to teach us about how to create some income in various different ways online. Thursdays is Transformation Thursdays. We always bring on someone who's in the health and fitness industry who can talk to us about their story and how to live healthier and fit lives as well. And Friday, we begin the Weekend Warriors. Starting, I want to say the 30th. I want to say the 30th. I'm going to give you the wrong date for all my guys out there. I'm going to give you the right date. I don't want to give you the wrong date. On August 30th will be the first Weekend Warriors webinar live stream, where it's a private webinar where we connect, talk, build, and we're going to do it every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So definitely connect with the Breakthrough Kings fan page to get the link, and hope to see you guys at the Weekend Warriors. But most importantly, we'll see you guys here tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace out.